What up? What up? What up? Welcome back to another edition of the Bad Podcast. Brad and Dawain. B, we ain't here by ourselves this time, man. What we talking about today, brother?
Just sort of a rarity, man. We're
It
never
is.
solo like this. We're going to talk about contentment. We're going to talk about self-reflection today. I got a quote from Zig Ziglar. People
Mm.
often say that motivation doesn't last. Well, neither does bathing. So that's why we recommend it daily.
I love it. Let's get it.
Hey, good job, guys. Good job. Mental battles. Mental battles.
Hey, man. Eat some for life, baby. What it look like, what it be like, what it do. Back on the ones and twos, Brad and Dwayne. Stand for the Bad Podcast. If you're new here, man, welcome to our podcast. We post every Monday to start your week off with some inspiration, some motivation, and a little bit of fun, man. And I'll be remiss if I didn't remind you about our free run group, man. Eager to Run Club on Facebook. If you are on Facebook, and if you ever seen someone take a step, you should join Eager to Run Club. That's all the requirement is to visually see someone take a step. You are qualified to join the Eager to Run Club. And so we're super excited about that, man. And so, Brad, man, like I said, it's been a while since it's been just me and you. And I'm excited, man. I know this episode is on week 7 of our 8-week challenge. And it's the week 7 is a great week, man. It's a special week, and I know we're going to kind of touch on some things with that, man. So I'm gonna let you kick it off.
Yeah, we are definitely going to touch on those things. But the first thing that we're going to touch on is today is the day after the Super Bowl. So I want your prediction. I got my Chiefs jersey up here. Shout out
Okay.
Chef Kev.
Okay.
Shout out Chef Kev, man. He's a Chiefs guy.
Yeah.
I'm going to tell my prediction, but I want to hear your prediction first. And we always record prior to when we
Yes.
drop live. So this is a week out. We're
All
still a
right.
week out. What do you
So
got?
I mean, listen, man. 4 years ago, this exact same matchup happened. And I have to shout out my cousin Tron and Frankie. It's also their birthday weekend again. And so 4 years ago, the Chiefs came up short, man. And so I think they got a little blood in their eye, man, and probably reminiscent of this time. And I'm gonna have to say the Chiefs, man. Against my own, I'm not a fan. Believe me, I'm a Colts fan.
Yeah.
I don't have a dog in the fight, but I think the Chiefs just have a good chance of they got a little extra chip on their shoulders. For 49ers, it's more tradition for them. Try to keep the tradition going, which is a good motivator. But knowing that this is a team that beat you in the Super Bowl, that gives you a little extra boost, man.
Yeah. I'm going the same way, man. I got 27-24 Chiefs. My dad's a Chiefs fan, so I'm pulling for the Chiefs, and for no other reason that my old man's a Chiefs fan. But I appreciate everything the 49ers do, but regardless, it'll be a fun Super Bowl to watch. You got a couple of good teams going back and forth, so looking forward to it.
Absolutely, yeah. I'm interested to see McCaffrey under the big lights.
Yeah.
I think he had one chance under the big lights and fell short. So who knows, man. I'm excited.
Yeah.
You guys listen to this, the outcome will already be decided.
Yep.
And and if we're both wrong, hey, it is what it is.
It is what it is, man. It is what it is. And then you can fast forward through all this 3, 4, 5 minutes right here. So,
right.
Hey, man, you touched on it, brother. You said it was week 7 with our E2M family. And this podcast is sort of focused towards our E2M fam, fitness, growth, motivation, all those things. So
right.
Week 7 is self-reflection. It's gratitude week. So this week, it's really important for us all to appreciate the journey. And when you think about the journey, and Dawain, I'm going to use you for a prime example because I've seen you from start into where you're at today.
Right.
And it's just been so much fun to watch you grow and blossom into who you are today. Because I remember You talk about the trash bag. I
Yeah,
remember.
man.
I remember you swishing and swashing around with that trash bag. What, 2.5 years ago or so?
Hmm.
And so when you talk about the journey, there's different phases or stages of life, right? We're all in different seasons of life, and this is life in general. So, man, back when you were swishing and swashing around on the trash bag, man, that was initiation. Like that was something that you appreciate today because, you know, when you're on a journey like this, it's hard for everybody, right?
Absolutely.
But you didn't allow yourself to quit 2 years ago. And which brings me to where you are today, man. You are a dog, man. Like you have some fight in you. That's
Right.
the reason you are getting on stage. And then so you appreciate the journey. You appreciate where you're at. You know, you see where you are today, and you appreciate where you are today. But then you look forward. You look ahead and say, man, what's going to be next for me? And so you still have that next. You still have the big stage, man. And this is a difficult journey. And
Right.
I want you to kind of speak on your behalf and then your experience. Like, man, appreciate where you are, appreciate where you are today, and then where you
Absolutely.
going. Yeah.
Yeah, man. So it's funny. I was just interviewed on a another podcast, just talking about fitness, and the topic came up of the whole body dysmorphia. Like thinking and seeing, and it's that when they brought it up, I chuckled, man, because I'm like, y'all don't know where I started, bro. Like, every day is a victory. So the answer your question, because it's all tied together, appreciating where you start is super important, man, because I remember, not being able to do much of anything. I remember being frustrated. So good thing about me is I'm not shy. So I have a lot of videos. Like I have videos of me and my wife in the living room, doing Zumba, because that was the only cardio I could do, was move around, dance around. I even, before each one, used to try to do push-up challenges, and I could only do maybe 5 at a time, so I visibly can see and appreciate where I started, man. But then, again, because I'm not shy, man, I literally can go through my camera roll and watch my body change over time. And I always tell people about week 4. Like week 4 was the week that I was like, oh snap, like this works. You know what I mean? Like, because you try so many things, and then you see, when you actually see change, man, it's a motivator. And that week 4 progress picture, I can honestly say, was the launch pad to where I am now, because knowing that my effort is met with results, bro, like that was the difference maker. Because I've always put in effort. Like I never mind going hard, no matter what size I was. But if you don't get like some kind of reward in between, you be like, oh, this ain't worth it, man. Like I told you, I did P30X. I didn't do P90X. I made it 30 days, and it's like, man, but that was the foundation in the launch pad to project me to where I am currently. And where I am currently, I mean, to be honest, like I am, and this is go back to the body dysmorphia thing. Like every morning I wake up, I'm just happy and thankful. And I look in the mirror, I was like, bro, like, who is this guy? Like, I'm impressed every time. Like, I'm not like, because another thing that happens during week 7 is comparison, because a lot of people are going to do their before and afters. I'm the only person I'm comparing myself to is my picture from yesterday. I'm not, I follow a lot of bodybuilders, and it's easy to get in that mindset, like, okay, who's doing what. I follow them, but I don't compare myself to them, because my journey is different than their journey, man. So the right now, I'm content. Like, let's say there was no stage and I just, enjoy working out, because I do. Like working out is like recreation to me. Like that's like my playground. I have fun when I work out. That's what it might not look like it, but just in my mind, it's just like, man, this is fun. Like this reminds me of playground. But so that, just being in that space and where I am currently, I'm content. Like I literally, if there was no stage, if whatever, I'm cool with getting up, still working out, having fun, grinding hard, trying to develop, setting other goals, setting the other goals that maybe not the stage. And that's going to be important when it comes to after the stage, because Yeah. So we talked about the foundation where I am currently, super content, but there is a drive in me to make it to the stage
Mhm.
on March the 23rd. And that drive, that push, it really I mean, it's the reminder every day,
Yeah.
and I keep a track,
Yeah.
now doing this post, I'm 6 weeks away. And so with that, that vision, with that insight, man, that all that gives me just a little bit extra to push a little bit harder,
Mhm.
to count those macros. Cause that's the listen, y'all. I'm about to go in a whole different direction, man. Working out is easy for me. It's this food thing, bro. Like, I miss the simple E2M, 2 cups and
Yeah.
and a meat. You know what I
Yep.
mean? Like,
Yep.
I
Yep.
miss that
They
because
counting.
yeah, bro, we count every single thing. But that's been the challenge,
Mhm.
and what has kept me going during this process. And that challenging part is knowing what the goal is, knowing what the end vision is.
Yep.
Um, and then, I have to shout out Jeff, man, because he's been super supportive. But he's like, I think he's like worried about my well being. He's like, bro, making it to the stage is a victory. I'm like, bro, I know, like you ain't got like that is the win, and even if I'm a place well, I know that, but let's say I didn't for whatever reason. Let's say all the Arnold Classic guys came in and did this show. Um, the win for me, man, is stepping up to that table, getting that button that goes on my shorts,
Mhm.
and walking into that venue. That is the win for me.
Yep.
Because if you would have told me 2.5 years ago that I would be on stage in swim trunks with no shirt on, I would have did it 2.5 years ago because I'm bold,
Right.
but not with the physique and confidence
Mhm.
that I have now,
Mhm.
man. So that is that's the progression from
Yeah.
kind of what you were talking about.
Yeah, so I have a few things there. So first and foremost, man, I'm just extremely proud of you. Um, just to get yourself on the stage, like you've done the prep, rep, repeat, man. You had the blueprint. You've repped and repped and repped and repped, and now you're going to get yourself on the stage. And like Jeff T said, man, like he failed twice. He didn't fail twice. He placed last twice, which some
Hmm.
people look at that as failure, but just by getting on the stage, you're a 1%er. Like that's a
Absolutely.
big deal. So I'm really proud of you just for getting on stage and putting in all this work. And there's a couple other things that I want to touch on. Pro tip, man. Pro tip. Pictures, pictures,
Hmm.
pictures, pictures. And
Absolutely.
and so many people will say, I'm all in. I'm all in. I'm all in. And then they'll message us and say, hey, I've been on the scale. I'm not seeing that. I'm not seeing that weight loss. Take the pictures. That's a part of being all in.
Big
If you
time.
can see those pictures, man, this is the example I always like to use. All right. So say you lose 10 pounds of fat, but you gain 12 pounds of muscle. Right there is a prime example. You gain 2 pounds all while losing some weight. So take the pictures. Take
Absolutely.
Dawain's advice. Take the pictures. And then you're going to have something to go back and reference. Hey, this is where I was 7 weeks ago. This is where I was 7 months ago. This is where I was 7 years ago. And then
Absolutely.
the second thing, Dawain, is comparison. Comparison's the thief of joy. We know this. I mean, that's an overused phrase in this day and age. But comparison is the thief of joy. If I'm looking at her results, if I'm looking at his results, if I'm looking over my shoulder, that's when I stumble and fall flat on my face because I'm not focused on what's going on in my own life. I'm not focused on my own story. All right. And there's this story going around social media right now, big time story. And this is kind of where I wanted to turn this a little bit. It's the cow and the buffalo. We've heard
Mm-hmm.
this story, right? Have you heard this
Mm-hmm.
story, the cow and buffalo?
I
Yeah.
don't think so. Go ahead.
Oh, okay. I'm gonna do the quick version because I think a lot of people have heard the story, but I'm gonna touch on the whole thing. So you got a cow and a buffalo standing side by side on the prairie, right?
Hmm.
And off in the distance, man, you can see the storm coming, and man, lightning bolts, pa-cha, thunder roaring up and down, tornadoes ripping through the prairie. And the cow and the buffalo look at each other. The cow says, hey, I'm going in that direction. I'm going the opposite direction of the storm. The buffalo says, I'm going directly into the storm. Now, what
Mm.
happens as storms come at us, man, they're going to keep going, right? So the buffalo takes the storm head on. He makes it through the storm. The
Hmm.
cow is always in retreat, running away from the storm, right? The storm is going to follow and follow and follow and follow. But that's not where I wanted to go with this story. What happens to the buffalo? The buffalo, he takes the storm head on. He makes it through the storm. The cow is always in retreat, running away from the storm, right? The storm is going to follow and follow and follow and follow. But that's not where I wanted to go with this story. What happens to the buffalo? is it fights and it fights and it fights and it fights and it finally breaks through the initial phase of that storm. And where does it get? It gets into the eye of the storm. Now, this is where a lot of us are in week 7. This is where a lot of us are in week 8. This is a crossroads, man. You have lost 50 pounds. You've lost 20 pounds, man. You are content. Life has settled down a little bit, but you forgot that you haven't made it through the storm. Just because you're in the eye of the storm, Dawain, doesn't mean the battle's not over. So you sit in the eye of the storm and you look around, man, it's storms over there, storms over there, storms behind me, the storms ahead, but I'm good right here. That's where a lot of people fail. That's where a lot of people meet their demise because they settle, they dig their heels into the ground, and they don't take that next step to get to the other side of the storm. So this right here is the most important part of the journey. You've been here, Dawain. I've been here, Dawain. You have to have vision. The buffalo has a vision, right? The buffalo has a vision to getting out of that storm. What is your vision? What is your next big goal? When life settles down and you've reached your finish line, what's your next start line? What's the next big thing that you're going to do? Man, you come up short, you reach that finish line, you have to come up, man. It's the Wizard of Oz, it's the Emerald City story that I've told 100 times, man. What's next? You have to keep that vision at the forefront, because when you start to settle, when you start to accept that contentment, that's when we lose. That's when we fail.
Absolutely, man. As a Carolina boy that has been in several hurricanes, drove through a few, that reference is spot on, man, when it comes to the eye of the storm and the calm, and, you know, the wind ceased and the rain stopped, and you think like, oh, I'm good, you know, but the other, it's still moving. Like if you sit still, the other side is coming.
It's coming.
Yeah. It's coming, man. But no, that's the first time I heard that story. But you know, and just like I said, just in the natural sense of what I've experienced in the Carolinas, it's a real thing. Like it is, you know, the eye of the storm is that common place, but you have to, like Brad said, you have to set your marks on the next thing, and you know, I'll just going back to me, you know, that's what something I'm thinking about, like what's going to be the next thing. And even Jeff brought it up, you know, what's going to be, and I don't know, but I do know that, you know, I'm going to continue doing what I'm doing as far as fitness goes. And I'm not, you know, it's going to be I'm going to tell you, it's going to be a week of eating something crazy.
I don't blame you, baby.
But after that, I mean, even if I don't step on stage again, like there's some physique things that I would love to develop and see, and, you know, see if I can take my body in different directions. You know, I'm not going to run. Just putting that out there.
Hey, I was gonna go there. I see.
I know. I saw it in your eyes. You know, I rep this. I rep the squad now, man. You know, it's team everything. E2M. But yeah. So it's really important, man. And I guess the difficult part, Brad, is helping people understand the importance of it, because of course you want to celebrate. Of course you want to, you know, we're going to celebrate you, you know, whatever that win is, whether it's a you know, weight loss win or whatever, your non-scale victory or whatever it is, we're going to celebrate. But, you know, think about it like the NBA, man. There's over 100 something games. You know, you can't cut the nets after every game. Right. You know, you give everybody a high five and go back to the locker room to show back up, man. And so that's kind of how you had to look at your fitness journey. Yeah. I use a different reference instead of the Emerald City this time. I think we wore that one out. but it all means the same, though.
Yeah, you know, and you're right now, you're still fighting through that initial phase of the storm. You know, you're still not on the stage, and when you get to that stage, that's the Emerald City, that's the tearing down of the net. And then it's time to adjust. And I've talked on my Ironman, like I poured a lot of energy into my Ironman, and I was sort of lost after that. And that was the eye of the storm for me. I got content and I settled, and, you know, I started to gain a little weight. I just started to lose that motivation, you know, lose that vision. And this is where a lot of people with E2M go wrong, because, I've obtained, whether you've succeeded or not, I've obtained it, man. I got everything I said I was going to get. I got everything that you said I was going to get. and that leads to contentment. Or if I
So
lose, same
I
thing.
got to jump in here, man.
Yeah.
So I have to shout out Cliff, Big Cliff. Big Cliff had a number in his mind that he wanted to get to. He had a weight goal. He reached that weight goal and reached out to me. He was like, "Hey man, I think I'm going to maintenance." I said, "Why?" He's like, I met this number. I was like, "Oh." I was like, "Are you happy with the way your body looks?" It's like, "Oh man, I guess I could, work a little bit harder." I was like, "Well, why not keep going, man?" And so he kept going and pretty much attained the body of his dreams.
Yeah.
It's never been that fit before in his life. He played ball in school, but he was like,
Yeah.
"I've never been this fit." But he could have settled for that number victory, man. And I always tell people, like we just mentioned, that number, it really don't mean anything. It's more or less what you're looking for, what the look is. But that's just a great example of, whatever you thought that goal was, dream higher, go further,
Absolutely.
keep pushing, man. So big shout out to Cliff, man, because he did. And I think now he's training for Ironman, right?
He is. Yep.
Yeah, that's dope.
Yep. Maintenance is such a tricky thing because there's not really such thing as maintain. You don't maintain, man. You either get better or you get worse. Like you don't maintain, right? I mean,
absolutely.
And it's a frustrating thing because people will reach out for us to us for the maintenance plan. Say, hey, here's the maintenance plan. 3 months later, they'll say, hey, I'm getting a little too fluffy. Well, again, that maintenance, like you think about a teeter totter, right? If you're standing in the middle, man, you ain't gonna not teeter and then try to totter, man. You it's hard to stabilize that teeter totter, man. You're going to go here, you're gonna go back. It's hard. It's hard. Maintenance is man, you get better or worse.
Yeah, I think it's a comfort, like something to strive towards. Yeah. Because everybody's like, man, you're not in maintenance. I was like, no, like that. Honestly, maintenance. I mean, this is personal opinion. My comments do not represent the opinion of E2M Fitness Incorporated. But to me, like I don't like you said, like I don't think maintenance is obtainable. Like I don't strive after maintenance. I'm striving to get better. But for some people, they need that idea or that mindset to work towards, or they need that, okay, I can get here and settle. But that's just the eye of the storm, man. One or two extra sweet potatoes and you need to jump back in, man. And I'm glad we're talking about this, especially week 7, because a lot of people are going to reach certain goals that they thought was it, man. Sorry to tell you that just more forest.
More forest, baby. All right, now we're done with the Emerald Cities.
All right, we're done.
No, but you're absolutely right, and we will be reached out a handful of times these next couple of weeks and say, I want that maintenance, boy, and we will give that maintenance. But you have to understand, to maintain, man, you got to be 100. A lot of people will go into maintenance, but then they'll even start to what's the word I'm looking for? Deviate even more from that plan. They'll say, a sweet potato. Well, a sweet potato is a potato. Potato's a sweet potato. Well, French fries are a potato, and potato chips are a potato. And then all of a sudden, like all that discipline that you just took 7-8 weeks, 7-8 months, 7-8 years to establish, boom, gone just like that, because you allowed that maintenance to slip away. And you deviated, you compromised just a little bit, man. When I like to think of it as a board, man, you bend that board, man, you can bend it a ton of times. You can bend it, then all of a sudden, boom, you hit one splinter. Yep. And that one splinter turns into 2 splinters, and shwap, that's your discipline. You bend over time, you will break. Don't bend. Don't bend. Yeah, stay true.
Right. Stay true, baby. No, that's super timely, man. And that is one of my favorite topics. Just knowing, that although, we promote it, like we want you to, get to a place where you're happy with where you are, but we also want to keep pushing you, man. That's what the Bad Podcast is for.
Yes, sir.
We want to push you, want to motivate you. We don't want you to fall short on that, man. So, all right, B, anything else you want to jump into before we wrap this thing up, man?
Hey, life will settle in the eye of the storm. Don't settle with it. Go Chiefs.
Watch the 49ers win.